Epilogue. Judgment. Realm of Sheol. The Underworld. Nastrod, the Corpse Shore. Inyana awakens, finding herself separated from Anne and back in her former Sakari form. She is dressed in a plain brown tunic and barefoot. The terrain is a desolate beach, and the cold air is stinging against her skin. In the sky there is no sun, moon, or stars. There is only blackness overhead. The only illumination comes from torches that are staked into the red pebble-like sand, arranged all along the coastline as far as she can see in both directions. Without a moon above, there's no tide, and the coastline never changes. Further down the beach, she notices Anne sitting with her knees pulled close. "Where are we?" Inyana asks. She is surprised to once more hear the sound of her own voice after 10,000 years. "We're dead," Anne replies, staring out at the black water. It's pretty obvious. "Dead? No. That cannot be," Inyana whispers in horror. Anger overtakes her and she focuses on the human with her full hatred. "You robbed me of my vengeance!" Before Inyana can move towards Anne, a large vessel becomes visible in the distance. At the stern is the form of a massive skeleton. A lantern hangs from the skeleton's hand, dangling to light the water ahead. Barnacle-like creatures with mouths of razor-sharp teeth cling to the sides of the boat, hissing as the vessel rises and falls in its propulsion. The vessel arrives at the beach, and suddenly the other skeletal arm drops down like an anchor. A ramp appears, and a strikingly tall figure clad in a black robe appears. "Everyone on board," the ferryman called Urshanabi announces. "Where does this ship lead to?" Inyana demands. She ignores the other souls, seemingly appearing out of nowhere to board. Each figure is dressed in the identical tunics and are barefoot like her. None carry any possessions. "My duty is to ferry the souls of the dead across this first river that is called Earu to the island of Doyle. You will there be judged and ferried to your final destination." Earu is one of the 5 rivers that branch off from the great river of the underworld that is called Styx. While the rivers of Sheol make up a single body, the direction of flow of currents dictates the designation of the sub-rivers. Earu is the flow that is nearest to the shore of Nastrod, the Corpse Shore, and carries ferries towards the island of Doyle. From Earu crosses the rivers Cocytus and Archeron, leading to Ufern, the domain of the Reapers. The Reapers, also known as the Mitriu, are former mortal souls that work in the employ of the Yazata of the 5th Choir to collect the souls of other mortals when their time has come. At the center of the great body of Styx lies the island of Doyle, where final judgment occurs. From Doyle, a soul will be ferried across either the river Kauthar or the river Tartarus. "I refuse," Inyana shouts. "Where's the exit to this nightmare of a place?" Urshanabi laughs. "I have been the ferryman of this river for 5,400 years. Do you honestly believe you are the first soul to refuse to board my vessel?" Inyana stands defiant, refusing to budge. Urshanabi grins, black energy wings unfolding from his back. An invisible force pressures upon Inyana, driving her to her hands and knees. She finds it impossible to move, straining with all of her might back against the pressure. "You have no power here," he says. "Your soul is no more fearsome than that of a dead dog." Inyana sits through the entire voyage in silence. There is no way for her to tell time, but it seems to take days to cross the river Styx. With the black sky above and the black water below, they are surrounded by darkness. Only the front of the boat is illuminated by the single lantern for Urshanabi to navigate. How does the boat move through the water? A curious soul asks. I see no sails or any oars. We are propelled by the souls of the damned in a natural current. Urshanabi grins once more, causing the curious spirit to step backwards in fear. Beneath the boat, there are souls attached, whose arms claw through the water and move us along. Very crude, but not the worst punishment one can face in their sentencing. In life, these souls drowned others, so now they will spend eternity underwater, clawing for a surface that they will never reach. Sounds like they got off easy, Inyana scoffs. I could think of much better ways to torture someone. You're surrounded by enemies, Urshanabi warns. I would be more careful of my words. Like I care, Inyana growls, disinterested. Many of these humans are here because of you. Good, Inyana laughs. I'm sorry I could not send more. Urshanabi slowly shakes his head. There is no doubt what the outcome of your judgment will be. You are truly a wicked creature. Inyana dismisses the ferryman with a wave of her hand. Your opinion of me is as valuable as the humans I have killed. Moving across the great river, the longboat passes slowly over the black water. Inyana peers over the side, unable to see past the surface. Do not stare too long, Urshanabi warns. Those that try to swim in the waters here or fall overboard are cursed to forever try to lure others to share their fate. Glowing lights appear in the water, trying to entrance the Sakari. Inyana quickly looks away as she begins to feel the urge to lean over the edge of the boat to see the lights more clearly. Flying reptiles with sharp beaks and leathery wings circle overhead like vultures. Known as Vroks, the creatures feed off the bodies of those who refuse to accept their deaths and stay behind on the corpse shore. Because their bodies constantly regenerate, the Vrok are able to feed on the energy of the poor souls for all eternity. Several Vrok are able to get too close to the boat, and Urshanabi shoos them away with an oar. A large cetacean creature crests the surface, devouring a low-flying Vrok. Hundreds of barnacles with singular eyes in their centers cover the whale beast's hide. A mane of tentacles whip wildly from the creature's back. Jaws filled with razor-sharp teeth tear through the Vrok and consume it in only a few bites. That is a Nang, Urshanabi says. They are the apex predators of Sheol. It is just an animal, Inyana replies, unimpressed. I do not fear any beast or man. Urshanabi laughs. You are willfully confident for someone without any access to magic or energy. How would you fend off a Nang without the powers you relied so heavily on in life? As the boat continues across the water, Inyana observes several stretches of jagged rocks in the distance. Twisted and contorted bodies lie hung up on the rocks, unable to extract themselves. Vroks pick at the flesh of the stranded souls. That is the barrier that separates the main waters of Styx and the river Tartarus. Beyond that is the realm of Gehenna, where those judged guilty of mortal crimes are set for punishment, Urshanabi explains. You might as well take me there and save yourself some time, Inyana says. Seeing this judge is pointless. I already know that I have claimed the lives of many. None of you could possibly understand what it means to be a ruler. A ruler can oversee their subjects justly. You were a ruthless tyrant that oppressed their people and slaughtered countless innocents. Tell me, what is the difference between a tyrant and a god? Both can wipe out civilizations, yet one is abhorred, and the other is praised. You are all hypocrites. I cannot cross the rocks to Tartarus. The river only flows from Doyle towards Gehenna. Our current only travels from Nastrod to Doyle. The flow of the rivers are too strong to fight against. After several hours of traversing the black waters of Eru and the greater Styx, the land of Doyle begins to come into view. That is Doyle, Urshnabi says. There you will all be judged. After judgment, you will be sent to the docks of your appropriate destination. A few of you will be sent across the river Kalthar to Paradiso, while the rest of you will travel along Tartarus to Gehenna to serve the terms of your punishments. Finally arriving on the shore of Doyle, the souls unload from the boat and the ferryman leaves them to begin the process anew. A massive walled castle looms ahead, covering the entire horizon so that it is the only possible destination from the beach. Large, ogre-like creatures called the Tanaruk usher the souls off the boats and make sure that none stray. Ghostly figures of the long-deceased help to ease the frightened souls of the dead through the process of the afterlife. Neutral souls who have not earned passage to Paradiso, but are not evil enough for Gehenna, may be selected to serve as shades, interpreters and guides for the dead in Doyle. Inyana shuffles forward, beaten and in despair. Both in front and behind, thousands of similar souls march in the same gait. The ground is hard and sharp rocks cut the bottoms of their feet. Each time she stumbles, one of the Tanaruk shoves the Sakari back into formation. Keep moving, wretches, a Tanaruk orders. Your eternal reward waits. He begins to laugh mockingly. The shades divide the passengers into 9 groups, sending each to a different judge. Because so many souls are to be processed each day, the judges are kept busy until the arrival of the next boatload of passengers. There's very little downtime in between, so the judges are usually in foul temperament. Shades within the courtrooms are present to make sure that the judges are not too harsh, just because of their attitude. Souls must only be judged for their own actions, not the personal whims of the judges. The shades are a crucial part of the arbitration process and necessary for a fair hearing. Group 1 is for souls waiting to be seen by the Honorable Judge Asis. Group 2 is for souls awaiting to be seen by the Honorable Judge Radadanthus. Group 3 is for souls waiting to be seen by the Honorable Judge Sertiu. Group 4 is for souls waiting to be seen by the Honorable Judge Ruruti. Group 5 is for the souls waiting to be seen by the Honorable Judge Ta Rietsu. Group 6 is for souls waiting to be seen by the Honorable Judge Nekhenu. Group 7 is for souls waiting to be seen by the Honorable Judge Haruru. Group 8 is for the souls waiting to be seen by the Honorable Judge Basti. Group 9 is for the souls waiting to be seen by the Honorable Judge Minos. One of the shades announces as others divide the souls of the deceased into each of the groups to make processing smoother and go more quickly. Inyana is placed in the final group of souls to be judged by Minos. The spirit of Anne is shuffled into Group 8 for Judge Basti. As Inyana continues to walk, she can see groups of shades and prayer circles with gatherings of souls. She rolls her eyes and walks past. The shades there try to comfort the dead, worried about their coming judgment. They represent hundreds of different religions in which they believed in life. The Shades explain to the souls that they have nothing to fear. No one will be punished for their beliefs, so long as they lived righteously. The worst fate that can befall one of them would be to become a Shade and work to help others. To many of the Shades, their jobs are a rewarding existence. Unsurprisingly, there's no Shade support group for the followers of Sane. In the distance, Inyana can see two strange-looking Yazata clad in black armor. These are the Erinyes, Yazata that work to guard Sheol under the command of the 5th Choir's General Sariel. The Yazata of the 5th Choir serve two distinct purposes: keeping the peace in the underworld, and assisting the Reapers in collecting the souls of those too difficult for them to reap. The Erinyes lock eyes with Inyana, recognizing her instantly. Inyana assumes they've been briefed on her arrival and see her as a potential problem. My reputation precedes me, she chuckles to herself. Using Shunkan Ito, the Yazata appear at Inyana's sides. We highly recommend that you stay on the path and rejoin your group. Judge Minos will not appreciate you being late, says the Yazata known as Ukatakiel. Inyana blows off his warning. What is he going to do? Send me to extra special hell for my tardiness? When one is suffering for eternity, even a single minute added to your sentence will be enough to break you, the Yazata called Toshiriel says. The Erinyes follow Inyana the rest of the way to the court of Judge Minos, before hanging back and watching. The Sakari enters the large castle she saw upon first arriving at her deal. The spirits of the dead are ushered by Tanaruk down the hallways leading to the separate courtrooms. The waiting area of each courtroom is massive, and Inyana is at the very end of a line of several thousand souls. Known as the harshest and most ill-tempered of the judges, many of the souls in front of Inyana cower in fear and worry of what Minos will say to them. One of the souls in line looks back, seeing Inyana and doing a double-take. What are you looking at, human? Inyana growls. I heard the ferryman speaking with you, the woman says. You're the one that attacked Totikahachi. Several others in line gasp and turn to investigate. You look different, but it was you, wasn't it? Inyana grins. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to send more of you here. Rather than be upset, the woman begins to laugh. I wish I could have been able to thank the person that put you down. They're a real hero. Inyana continues to smile. Oh, she is in Group 8. Why don't you go find her? Sneers and dirty looks continue as the line creeps along sluggishly. You killed my boyfriend, another woman says, tears in her ghostly eyes. I don't even know if my parents were able to evacuate safely. Probably not, Inyana laughs. I did my best to make sure that none escaped. A shade stands at the entryway of the wide-open Colosseum. Unlike the other courtrooms, the court of Judge Minos has no roof. Because of the judge's enormous size, his space must be completely open. Stand by until your name is called, the shade says, holding a logbook of the passengers divided into Group 9. Inyana pushes past the shade, ignoring his protests. She enters the open courtroom of the Judge Minos. Towering above the souls like a mountain, Minos' breath slams into them in hot waves. His voice shakes the ground. His eyes see into each soul's past, reading them like a book, seeing each deed, good and bad. Minos' body is only visible from the waist up. The rest is obscured by clouds. Each of the monster's fingers are the size of a building, and he is surrounded by hundreds of armored Tarnaruk as his enforcers. The big factor for this court is intimidation, and Minos enjoys scaring the righteous as much as the wicked. He knows, however, that he can only go so far harassing those meant to cross Kauthar. Should he elicit the wrath of that realm's master, he would not only lose his position as judge, but himself be cast into the darkest pits of Dis for his own crimes in life. For Minos, judgment gives him power, in a stay of his own torment, provided he remain impartial and stick to the determinations laid out by the Creator. All beings that pass before him are found on one of two lists, and he cannot change that fate. Where Minos' power comes is the sentencing he is able to pass upon the souls bound for the city of Dis and Gehenna. He has free rein to issue punishment in terms for all souls that sail for the shores of Gehenna. Inyana steps up before him, standing on a circular platform. Around her, Tanaruk sneer and jest with each other. Minos remains silent, squinting as he examines every inch of her past.
"Brazen little insect," Minos growls. "You think you're something special, don't you?"
He begins to laugh. The sound hurts Inyana's head.
"You are nothing. All that made you matter in life has been stripped away. All that remains is your black heart and the actions of your past. I don't even need to read your file to pass judgment on you, Inyana of Narain."
I am no longer special, yet you know who I am. One of those sentences is surely a lie, Inyana challenges.
"Ha! It is rare to meet a soul that is so full of themselves that they disrespect me and call me a liar. Humbling you will be a daunting task for whatever demons are unlucky enough to be assigned your case."
What gives you the right to even judge me? I was queen of the Sakari. I was the most powerful sorceress in all of Averno. You are just some ugly monstrosity given a position of power that you do not deserve. What prevents me from challenging you for your job? I would be far better qualified to pass judgment on lesser beings. Only one as perfect as I am can truly judge others. You have no authority over me.
"Challenge me for my job?"
Minos again begins to laugh.
"This is indeed a first. You may very well be the most arrogant and selfish soul I've ever encountered. You are corrupt to the very core. The evil of your heart is what makes you unfit to pass judgment on others. Gehenna shall be your one and only destination. You have killed a great many humans and Sakari alike. It is not every day that a soul is stained with blood such as yours graces me with their presence. You even attempted to have a mother slaughter her own son. I would enjoy seeing your torture spread out across millennia, yet I am inclined to take into consideration your time imprisoned by the magic of human sages. I find irony, sometimes, is more fulfilling than most obvious forms of torture."
He leans forward, his head breaking through the clouds so that his breath knocks Inyana to her rear like a powerful wind.
"And I know everything there is to know about torture. You shall spend the rest of eternity in the city of Dis, restricted housing, with 0 free movement. You are a threat level 3. You will have no possibility of relief. I shall grant you no parole or pardon for any of your extensive list of crimes. Each murder you have committed shall earn you a lifetime of torment. When you have completed the time for all of your murders, you will then begin serving additional life sentences for each and every person negatively affected by the lives that you ended. Your tortures shall be for all eternity. You shall keep all of your memories, so that you will be forced to remember that there will be no end to your suffering. The universe will wither and die long before you complete your punishment. A new universe will birth, and yet still you shall remain imprisoned.
Minos grins.
I look forward to the day that you are finally broken. The day when you finally become remorseful for your crimes. That day will bring me satisfaction, and I shall come to visit you just to remind you that your torment will never cease.
Inyana is quiet, her words caught in her throat.
As I thought, you talk big, but in reality, you are a very small creature on the inside. Allow me to impart a final bit of knowledge that we judges tend to avoid. It is improper to inform a soul of the fates of others they may know, but I will tell you this as an additional weight upon your suffering. 2 of your children and Marduk have already stood before me in judgment. As you suffer for eternity, be forever aware that all 3 of them are in the same place as you are destined. The pain that you experience, the hopelessness in the pit of your soul, the fact that your torment will never end. Remember that they too are suffering the same fate. To be so close to your loved ones and never be able to see them again, knowing they are being tortured as well. Allow that knowledge to be my gift to you.
Damn you, Inyana says through gritted teeth. Tears sting her ghostly eyes. She tries to summon the strength to fight, but her body is simply incapable. Damn you for that. No matter how long I suffer, I shall never forget your gift. I promise you that someday I will make you pay for that kindness. Minos laughs.
Empty threats. Once you arrive in Gehenna, you will never leave.
I will get to you, Inyana vows. It may take 1,000,000 lifetimes, but I will repay you for your words. As a judge, you should know that all actions have consequences. The Tanaruk understands the verdict, dragging Inyana off into a line of souls headed for another boat to cross the river Tartarus. Inyana has no illusions of her fate. She has already crossed the great river and received her judgment. Everyone around her shares the same fate, and it is not one that is desirable. Outside of each courtroom, souls destined for Paradiso are then ushered through another building where their souls are cleansed of any traces of impurity by the Aesir known as Mot. Inyana catches sight of Anne in her peripheral, boarding a white boat ferried by an old woman with white hair and a white robe. The old woman's eyes are as blue as precious jewels, and as soon as the soul boards her ship, their brown tunics are replaced with white robes. They no longer appear dirty and downtrodden. They are filled with hope and joy. She is the fairy woman, Lokatha.
That ferry crosses the river Kauthar to Paradiso. You'll never see that, Sakari.
A Tanaruk laughs, poking her in the shoulder with the tip of his spear for lingering too long. You know what I am? She asks, surprised.
Death comes for all beings, even long-lived ones such as you.
Inyana boards a rickety boat, covered with more of the horrific barnacle creatures. The ferryman is a tall, skeletal creature, in a tattered black robe. It extends a bony hand, helping the souls onto the vessel one by one. This, Charon, the ferryman hisses, is the final boat ride each of you shall ever take. Enjoy your journey. He laughs with a terrible sound that chills the souls with fright. Inyana is unaffected, still in disbelief of her situation. The boat ride is painfully slow, taking what seems like days to reach the shores of Gehenna. The smell of sulfur is stronger the closer they get to land. The ground, as it becomes visible, is red volcanic rock. As the boat crashes against the rocks, 2 Tanaruk Appear and help Charon. Hold it while the souls step off. Inyana exits the boat and takes in her new surroundings for a moment. The beach is at the base of an enormous volcanic mountain, larger than any she has ever before seen. The city of Dis lies ahead, built in steps up the mountain face for several miles. Screams and wailing are the songs in the air, and she wishes she no longer possessed any of her 5 senses.
"You're headed there, to Dis,"
Atanarok says, poking Inyana with his spear.
"Regular souls can wander unguarded if they're not assigned to a specific torment. You, however, are bound for the restricted housing. You will be under constant watch."
Inyana is forced to walk, receiving a poke from the Atanarok's spear each time she slows. Monstrous plants decorate the wasteland. Looking like large, dead trees, the plants have multiple thorny branches that extend like spears. Many of the plants have souls ensnared within the thorns, slowly fusing them to the plant and becoming a part of it. Red, vein-like feelers extend out from each plant and up the stone walls like vines. Reaching the iron gates of Dis, she looks up to find that she cannot see the tops of the walls. On the other side, titanous creatures over 100 foot tall pull on chains that slowly spread apart the gates so that they may enter. The horrors of the city are undescribable. Souls are eviscerated and eaten by monstrous creatures, only to be defecated and reborn again to be torn apart once more in an endless cycle of violence. She is led to a dungeon where she is locked inside a closet of a room and left alone in the darkness. Without enough room to even sit, Inyana stands with her body pressed against the stone-cold walls.
"We tried to make your lodging something familiar."
A deep voice laughs from the other side of the door. It is the keeper of the gates, Miklan.
"We wouldn't want you to forget the 10,000 years you already spent trapped inside of a tiny prison."
The Sicarii is resigned to this fate, with no possibility of escape. The days blur together, each one bringing new and more terrible tortures. The demons tasked with torturing her delight in their duties and do not hold back. At the end of each session, Inyana's mangled remains are slowly regenerated, all to be repeated again the next day. After what seems like years of this repetitive torture, Inyana hears a struggle outside and shouting before swords clash, and a body hits the ground with a distinct thud. Her door slowly cracks open and the body of her guard drops, his bulbous eyes staring up at her. The creature is a frog-like monstrosity covered in coarse black hair. Dark blood runs down his chest from a slash to his neck and collar. "Take my hand," Cedrion says, stepping over the goblin's body. "We still have much more to accomplish before I can allow you to die." Inyana grabs the Grigori's hand and instantly she awakens on a sandy beach. The fresh smells of the ocean and jungle life fills her nose. She looks around, staring at her own body in disbelief, as she has retained her Sicarii form. "There is nowhere that a Yazata cannot reach," Cedrion says. "Not even the most fortified dungeons of Dis can keep us out." "You can revive the dead?" she whispers, staring at her hands. The Grigori nods. "It is a simple feat for Yazata." Inyana wants to beg him to revive her children, but wonders what she already owes the Yazata for his rescue. "It was stupid of you to bar me from your battle," Cedrion says. "Why have you resurrected me?" "This is the island of Jockey. It is a special place strong with the aura of Seliat Taram, a realm of monsters. Throughout history, this island has been a haven for inhuman creatures that were drawn to its power. Can you feel that power even now? It is thick in the air, strong enough to taste." It's true, Inyana already feels stronger as the island itself is infusing her with power. "There is a treasure hidden here that neither you nor I can touch. Only your brother and his vessel will be able to access the shrine containing the object that I desire. You will see to it that General Hui is revived, and you will lure both him and Yamura here to battle. Only after Yamura has killed Hui Will he be strong enough to pass the shrine's trials and claim its reward? Inyana does not like being the Yazada's pawn, but the alternative of returning to Dis frightens her greatly. She nods, deciding she has no choice for now but to comply. Enemies gather on all sides against me. Even in a more powerful vessel, my brother was able to find a way to push me to my very limits. I would never have dreamed I would have been forced to use Seal Asilaire in battle. I see now that I will be unable to defeat him alone. I require a loyal general. I must prepare for Grand General Hui and his resurrection. Only with Hui's might will I be able to end the life of my traitorous sibling. I will play your game, Yazata, and I shall revive General Hui, but not for him to be killed by Yamura. Together, Hui and I shall kill Yamura, and then we will steal whatever it is you are after, and kill you as well. No one manipulates me. I shall have my revenge against all of you in time. Behind a dark altar beneath the streets of Brighton, Florida, a golden amulet rests among the coins and other treasures left long ago by pirates. Now in the modern age, the amulet is guarded and worshipped by a handful of acolytes that both fear and respect the demon-like entity contained within.